My dad, my dog, my day one. Blood in my veins, where I came from. If it go bad, he the first I call. Standing right next to me through it all. My dad, my dog, my day one. Laugh when we broke, still the same fun. World go mad, I don't gotta pretend. Cause my old man really my best friend. You ain't flinch when the bills went late. You just crack jokes, said we still ate. Split your last plate, told me boy take more. Walk me past fights, past that back door. You ain't just
Welcome back to the Special Features Podcast.
Hey.
It's your boy Maximilian Greatshell, and this is my father, Walter.
Greetings.
Walter Greatshell of the Walter Greatshell family.
That's right.
I was trying to remember the word for an opulent family, but I couldn't remember. Never mind.
It doesn't matter.
The point is, on the last podcast, we heavily discussed Lord of the Rings. That one hasn't been published at the time of us recording this one.
No.
I've decided, because I don't want to, that we're not going to talk about Lord of the Rings again this
Okay.
episode. I did consider it for a little while, just because, popular
I'd be fine.
movies and stuff, but it's like, I'm just on the mood.
Okay.
I just got off work. I work with meats. And
Meats.
I don't want to talk about Lord of the Rings. But I do love Lord of the Rings. To all you boys and girls out there.
I'm rereading Lord of the Rings right now.
Well, don't.
Yeah. No.
I'm just kidding. No, you totally, you're free to. Yeah. No, I don't know. So much has happened since last time we talked. How's your life going?
It's going fine. Just hanging out. We did a lot of snow shoveling. Just had a huge snowstorm.
Oh, I forgot about the snowstorm.
Shoveled the snow.
You're killing me here, man. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, the snowstorm was pretty brutal. That's the most snow we've had for like 10 years.
That was a lot of snow.
There was
it's still out there.
More than a foot of snow, and now it's mountains out there.
Yeah, you should show a little scene of the snow.
Now I have to do extra work and film a shot of the snow.
Sorry, forget I said anything.
You're always making this podcast harder for me.
I know. I'm sorry. It's my way.
You're not a good father. No, the snowstorm was crazy.
It was.
But, good reason to stay inside.
Yeah, and I like that. I like to stay inside and watch movies, read books.
All the things we talk about on this podcast.
Exactly. That's all we do.
Speaking of which, I feel like every time I watch movies on streaming services with my wife, I have trouble. Anytime there's something specific I want to watch, the specific thing I want to watch is always not free on every streaming service.
Yeah.
It's like whenever you're browsing. So browsing streaming services, I kind of feel like is already kind of like a kind of hell.
Uh-huh.
Like that video stores never were, because
Right.
video stores had everything laid out in clear categories. So like if you wanted to watch a specific director or something.
Right.
But streaming services is they do have categories, but it's also there's mountains of trash mixed in with the 5 good movies that have ever been made in history.
Right.
And as a result, sifting through the trash is like a monumental task.
Yeah.
Unless you know exactly what you want to watch. But then when you do know exactly what you want to watch, and a lot of times for me it's like a classic movie that I want to show Gwen or something.
Uh-huh.
It's not free.
Right.
And then you have to I don't know, pirate it or something. But not that I pirate. I do not commit crimes.
Well,
But,
or there's just commercials, Like a lot of the services, if you want to watch a movie, there's commercials, and it's annoying.
No, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. It's either the movie is not available for free, or it's available on Shumagorath, app, with ads, with 15 ads every 10 seconds.
Right.
It's available on Borpy.
Yep.
On some random app you've never heard of in your life. On Plubus.
Yeah, and they put more ads as the movie goes on, so the more you get wrapped up in the movie, the more ads you have to sit through.
Yeah, it gets insane.
Yeah.
Or there's a billion ads twice at the beginning, and that but it's either way, it's hell on earth.
Yeah.
My point is, recently I was looking for The Matrix, because Gwen has never seen The Matrix.
Oh.
Gwen is my wife, in case you don't know or haven't ever watched any other episodes of this podcast, which is very likely.
Yes. That's a good thing about it.
Yeah, but Gwen is my life. My life and my wife. My wife is my life. But I was trying to show her The Matrix because she'd never seen it before.
That's a fun movie.
And I kind of feel like that movie sort of set the trend for a lot of like sci-fi action movies that came after for the next like 20 years, essentially.
Yep.
So it's important to see that movie. Also, there's a lot of like, social and political stuff around that movie. So I just really like that movie. And I couldn't find it for free. And I wanted her to see that the whole movie was like behind a green filter. And The Matrix was like one of the first movies to do that effect. To have the whole movie tinted one color, essentially.
Well, it's funny to me because I remember before The Matrix ever came out, there was another movie with Keanu Reeves that was based on a William Gibson book. I'm trying to remember what it's called.
It wasn't Neuromancer, was it?
Might be Neuromancer.
Oh, no. You're talking about Johnny Mnemonic.
Johnny Mnemonic, yes.
Johnny Mnemonic was terrible.
Yeah, but it's based on a William Gibson book, which is really good. And
really, is there a William Gibson book called Johnny Mnemonic?
Yeah, there is, and it's really good. And it was a real bummer to me that whoever made that movie did a terrible job. But what's funny is that
I'm sure whoever saw it, like maybe the Wachowskis saw.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Johnny Mnemonic, and were like, Keanu Reeves could be a good like techno punk star,
right? And I just bet you anything that they were probably also fans of William Gibson, as I was, and they saw that movie and they were like, man, did they screw that up? And so they thought we could do this right. Yeah. And so they just wrote their own script that kind of played on those same themes.
Well, William Gibson is the OG.
Yeah.
I mean, William Gibson is like, he created, what is it, cyberpunk?
Yeah, cyberpunk.
So like essentially everything that's like The Matrix, like everything that's come since then that has been in that style is sort of based on his work.
Right.
And his work is of course based on like even more classic sci-fi authors.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff has come from William Gibson. The funny thing for me is the things that come to mind for me, like I don't usually think William Gibson when I think The Matrix. I definitely don't think Johnny Mnemonic. I mean, the first thing that comes to me is sadly, if you have seen the movie Hackers, which is Angelina Jolie's first movie, and has and is a very, very, I don't know if it was like late 80s or 90s, but it's like kind of this.
It's 80s.
It's either it's like an interpretation based on the point of view of like the 80s and 90s of what like interacting with computers and the internet will be like in the future, essentially, with like kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
And in this fictional world, and it's a very corny movie. It's a very corny like B movie.
Right.
But it has some fun things in it. And one of the things in this fictional world is that like the newest, most advanced supercomputer in this world that all the hackers are like excited about is called a Gibson.
Okay. So it's referring to
William Gibson. Yeah. So that's the first thing that comes to mind for me when I think William Gibson. Yeah. And of course Neuromancer, because I read Neuromancer.
Yeah. Well, and Neuromancer is also good, but I don't think anybody ever adapted William Gibson for the screen
effectively,
which is unfortunate.
You could argue that The Matrix is an effective adaptation of William Gibson.
Well, it's an homage to William Gibson.
Well, so is also one of the most popular video games in recent history has been Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever it's called.
Okay.
And Keanu Reeves is also in that, and that's more of like an adaptation of like a direct adaptation of the cyberpunk genre in general.
Okay.
That game wasn't insanely popular for a while because when it first came out, it had a lot of like glitches and issues still. Like there was a lot of content missing from it and stuff.
Okay.
And people would have a lot of like it would shut down a lot and things.
Right.
But then they released an animated series on Netflix based on the concept of the game that was so popular that it like drove sales of the game way up.
Huh.
Even though initially the selling point of the game was that like people like Keanu Reeves were in it.
Okay.
He playing some guy named like Johnny Silverhand, I think. Which is
So
like a guy with a robotic arm.
Right. So this game, was this some sort of offshoot of Johnny Mnemonic?
No, it was just an attempt to create a fully fleshed out open world cyberpunk game, which nobody had really done before. You know what I mean? Like in the same way that the Elder Scrolls people, have tried to create a very fleshed out fantasy universe.
Okay, but I'm just thinking. You said that
Keanu Reeves.
Is in it.
Yeah, but he's playing a completely different character.
Okay.
But my point is, yeah, I'm sure the people that made the game had seen The Matrix and had probably also knew about Johnny Mnemonic.
So this is post-Matrix.
Yeah.
Okay. So
this is super recent by comparison.
Oh, okay. So then, obviously it's using all that stuff.
Yeah, they didn't have the technology to make an open world cyberpunk game like before the Matrix.
Okay, well I don't.
Or even around the Matrix, like that kind of technology is very recent.
Okay.
Is like, I don't know how when the first open world game was made, but as far as how fleshed out some of these games are, they're very recent. But even they still require a lot of computing power. Like you still have to have a computer that has a good graphics card and whatnot.
Right.
But it's funny we mentioned that also because I was recently thinking about how the people who made the Elder Scrolls series of games had been inspired to some extent by Lord of the Rings, because those games also have direct references to Lord of the Rings, and I don't really know a lot about the extended universe of those games. I don't know about the games before Skyrim, but the most recent Elder Scrolls game that Bethesda is the company that they made was called Skyrim, and that game was very important to me because it was the first really lavish, fleshed out fantasy open world game that I ever played. And I played it in college.
Okay.
And in that game, there's a city called Whiterun, which is essentially a recreation of Rohan.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's almost like a direct reference to Rohan and Lord of the Rings.
Right. Well, I feel like almost all fantasy projects, including the whole Game of Thrones thing, all comes from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I loved about Skyrim. It was literally playing. It was the closest thing to being in the Lord of the Rings world that you could get at the time. Mm-hmm. And now, obviously, they've tried to do more things, make more Lord of the Rings games. I know they're talking about making some kind of all-encompassing open world Lord of the Rings game, but that's neither here nor there. Mm-hmm. My point is I like stuff when it's immersive like that. You know?
Well, I got to say it's all out of my experience. I don't really obviously I don't play video games, so I don't really know.
Well, if you were an invalid, you'd play Skyrim and you'd like it.
Well, I've often said, that if I'm ever crippled, I'd probably spend a lot of time playing some Star Wars game like X-Wing Fighter or something like that.
See, but why not start now?
Because I don't want to now.
I know, but
I have a life.
You already use YouTube and you doom scroll, and it's better. It's better for your mind to play video games, because at least when you're playing video games, you're not only developing a certain kind of skill, you're also entering a community that's that has more potential than just watching YouTube. You know what I mean?
But to me, it'll never be. I can never do it because it just feels empty to me. It's there was many years ago I played one of those. What's that game that has the Angelina? They made an Angelina Jolie.
Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider. I was playing Tomb Raider for a while, and after a while, the pointlessness of it.
I hear what you're saying, and I have a tendency to drop most games too for the same reason. However, not all games are for all people, and the fact of the matter is that, if you find games that speak to your particular interests and your skill set, there are certain games that you can become really into or even obsessed with. You know what I'm saying? There have been very few games in my life that I've played all the way through because I've gotten bored of them. Uh-huh. But there are a few games, maybe a handful of them, 3 to 5, that I've loved so much that they've consumed my life for short periods of time.
Well, that's how there was a period of time, when I was living overseas and I was trying to write, and I felt very, very isolated. And I was playing chess against a computer, and that became all-encompassing. I was playing chess every day for hours and hours.
Yeah.
And I got really good at it. Initially, I could never beat the computer. After a while, I beat the computer every time, and that's when it started. I wasn't interested anymore. I got bored with it at that point.
And there's similarities there. I mean, there are still people who are obsessed with chess. I mean, weirdly, there are people who are like, chess is still some kind of weird cultural thing. I don't really know entirely why.
I'm just saying.
I guess just because it's a strategy-based competitive game.
Yeah, I'm just saying games to me in general. It's not just chess. It's not just video games. It's all games. After a while, I just, I sort of gave up on games. I obviously
I demand that you play some of my favorite games and you stream on Twitch or on YouTube while you play them so that other people can watch you play them and talk about them.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
That is the world we're living in.
Yeah, I know it's the world we're living in. It's just not a world that really engages me,
But you could be a bigger part of it.
I don't want to.
You could play Stardew Valley. That game obsessed me for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And by a short period of time, I mean every single day for like a year.
Well, I mean, when I was in high school, if I could have just, gone down to the video arcade and played, Asteroids for free, I probably would have spent a lot of time doing that, but...
Asteroids, God.
I never got engaged with
I
that.
played Asteroids a little bit when I was younger.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of entertainment in shooting the pew-pews at the things and having the big rocks break into smaller rocks.
Yeah, right, exactly. And plus you have the different settings for gravity and stuff like that.
If we want to continue rewinding this to even older world games, one of my favorite old I'm going analog here. One of my favorite oldest games is Skee Ball.
Oh yeah, Skee Ball.
I don't know when Skee Ball was invented.
It's probably ancient.
I mean, the concept is ancient as far as throwing rocks into holes. But as far as actual Skee Ball, I'm sure I bet the first Skee Ball machine was built in the 70s or something.
Probably. I don't know.
Isn't that when a lot of wacky arcade type stuff was created?
Yeah.
In the 60s and 70s?
Absolutely. I don't think I saw a Skee Ball prior to the 80s or something because when I was a kid.
Hold on, my wife is calling me.
Okay.
I think
Here's Gwen.
I think Wesley wanted to be involved in that conversation.
Yeah, he's like, where's she at? Where's Mom at?
I hope it recorded the video that we took already.
I hope so.
If not, I'll just put I'll just put a picture of my butthole.
Stop barking.
Does that sound good?
Yes, that sounds good.
Oh, his barks are coming up mad. Stop barking, you're blowing out the audio, Wesley. He's blowing out the audio.
Blowing it out.
Anyway, so that was my wife, Gwen. She's dealing with these. My battery froze in the cold. So not froze, but it basically imploded. So I have to get my battery replaced. And apparently the battery she went to 4 stores to find was still not the right battery. And the guys at the auto shop are putting the right battery in.
Oh my God.
So hopefully it'll be done today, and I don't have to deal with this. Not driving myself to work. I made Gwen get up 2 days now at 5 a.m. to drive me to work.
The poor thing.
I know.
But
She has to suffer what I suffer through.
That's what married life is. You have to sacrifice from time to time.
Yeah, but I'm never getting up at 5 a.m. for her. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I would do anything for her, as you know.
Yes.
As you know, based on my track record of doing anything.
Sounds like a song. I do anything.
That is a song.
Yes, it is.
From Oliver.
Yeah.
The musical Oliver.
Yes.
Which brings us full circle to because we were talking about musicals before we started this podcast. We were talking because one of my favorite musicals of all time is Sweeney Todd.
Yeah, it's a good one.
The Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
Yep.
The Demon Barber of Fleet Street. It's your fate, Sweeney, poop up to the sky, pooping all the time and then you die. That's not how the song goes.
No, thank goodness. It does not go that way.
Poop all the time and then you die.
Yes.
That musical is weird to me because one of the things that has always bothered me is in the Tim Burton movie remake of Sweeney Todd, Sacha Baron Cohen plays the snake oil salesman.
Uh-huh.
And he basically, when he switches into his normal accent, he has a Cockney accent. And I'm like, that works. That's understated.
Yeah.
But in the original play, the guy that plays that part has like this goofy, over-the-top Irish accent that's almost leprechaun-like in its over-the-topness.
Huh.
And that...
Wait a minute, he's Irish in the original?
Yeah.
Because isn't his name like Vitelli or something like that?
And that's his stage name.
Oh.
His real personality.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I'm not talking about when
You're
he's
not talking
performing.
about his act, okay.
When he's performing, he like pretends to be Italian or something.
Right.
But then when he gets off stage and he's talking, I'm talking about when he's talking to Sweeney afterwards.
I got what
and
you're
he's
saying.
trying to extort him.
Yeah, I get it.
When Sacha Baron Cohen plays that part, he plays like this kind of like
this Cockney
seedy
guy.
Cockney guy,
Right.
which makes sense actually because Sacha Baron Cohen I think is from like Cockney England.
Right.
But the original actor who played this very flamboyant Irish guy, and I'm not sure it works. It kind of almost takes away because you need that serious moment juxtaposed with the goofiness of their performance. With the whole like dueling barbers thing.
Right.
It's funny, like dueling barbers, like dueling pianos.
Yeah.
But dueling banjos,
Dueling banjos. Yeah.
But like then to have, in the Tim Burton version, he goes back. He's like, well, Mr. Todd, I'm gonna. You better give me some money, But in the fucking play version, it's like, what do you think you're doing, Mr. Todd? It's been a while since I've tried to see you.
That's weird.
I would like to. Could we have some money? I don't know. At least that's what I remember it happening in the original play.
Yeah, I don't really recall that character very much.
When I watched it, the original recorded performance.
You're talking about the Angela Lansbury one?
The one that you guys have the album for.
Yeah.
Which I've also listened to hundreds of times.
Yeah, me too.
Speaking of which, I've also watched the best recorded version of the stage play Cats.
Okay.
The musical Cats.
Yeah.
And I've sort of had like weird autistic obsession with songs from that play as well.
Well, a lot of people love that play. I've never been hugely fond of it, but
I don't know. I still haven't watched the thing all the way through. I've only watched selected performances.
Right.
So I can't really speak to how good the play is as a whole piece.
Right.
But just as far as like a few of the musical performances that I like go, it's very fun to watch.
Okay.
Just because it's like, I don't know, it's very flamboyant.
Yeah,
it's like, obviously that's the point.
Yeah.
The point is people enjoy the play because it's super over the top and flamboyant.
Right.
It's like...
Yeah, it's ultra Broadway.
Yeah.
It's
but
like
it's ultra Broadway, but it's not pretending to be anything else.
No.
So it's like, you remember that we talked about the movie The Tall Guy. And in The Tall Guy, they make fun of like that type of musical, like a musical that's very on the nose.
Yeah, very jazz handsy.
Yeah. But this but Cats, even though it is that way, I think is almost it's almost a parody of itself because of how over the top it is.
I agree.
So in that way, I think it makes it sort of comes full circle and comes back to fun.
Yeah.
Because it's such a goofy concept.
Right.
It's like we're gonna get a bunch of ballet dancers, dress them as cats, and have them sing about being cats.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
the thing that's weirdest to me about it is that it's all based on an idea from T.S. Eliot.
Yeah.
Which is like very strange to me. This kind of obscure.
Yeah, poems for jellicle cats or whatever the hell it's called. No, I know that's weird too.
Yeah.
I just I don't know. There's things about it that I maybe it's just the flamboyance in me that coming out because I feel like in some ways I really like very over the top flamboyant things.
Right.
And I mean I really like the play Elephant from The Tall Guy.
Yeah, well, that's hilarious.
Even though it's objectively a terrible idea,
right.
If I would go to see that play just because it seems so funny and over the top.
Yeah, of course, a musical based on the Elephant Man. It's a brilliant idea, for a comedy.
Every time I think about it, I just think about that scene. There's a movie called The Tall Guy. Go watch it. That Jeff Goldblum is in. It's like a British movie.
Yeah.
And he plays the Elephant Man in a terrible musical. But there's a scene in the movie where he has to like try to get back together with his girlfriend who he's cheated on. and he's driving like manically down the road, and this cop pulls him over,
Right.
and he still has this horrifying makeup on that's like partially falling off,
Right.
and he's like, I have to get to the hospital right away, because his girlfriend's a nurse. He's like, I have to get to the hospital right away, and the cop is like, oh my god, I'll drive you.
Right. Yeah.
He has like these giant lumps on his head and stuff.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's a good movie. It's
That's a good comedy.
yeah. It was directed by a guy named Mel Smith, and
Did he do anything else?
he did. Unfortunately, because the Tall Guy was so good, he got a job. He was hired by George Lucas to direct Radioland Murders.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which is a terrible movie.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling they really hamstrung him, and he probably didn't have a lot of creative freedom on
Yeah.
that movie.
Which
And-
is weird, because usually when a movie does well, they give the director the ultimate creative freedom on the next project.
Yeah, and maybe they did, but I don't think so, because it doesn't have any of the fun of the
Yeah.
Tall Guy, and it's really a boring movie. And I think ultimately what happened is that the movie, because it's not good,
Yeah.
was a huge dud, and because it was a huge dud and a dud for Lucasfilm, which should have been it should have been a shoo-in.
Yeah.
But because it was a dud, I think that it basically destroyed Mel Smith's career, and because of that, he died.
He didn't have a chance to prove himself again.
Right, and I think
Yeah.
he died shortly thereafter.
Well, that's depressing as hell.
It's pretty depressing.
I'm
yeah.
also pretty sure the reason, like, all that stuff. There's a bunch of stuff at the beginning with the main character working for Rowan Atkinson in like a stage comedy.
Uh-huh.
And I think I read that the reason that was in the movie is because the director actually did work for Rowan Atkinson at some point, and they I don't know if they were friends, but like that's the reason he wrote it into the movie, and then got like Rowan Atkinson to actually play himself.
Oh, okay. That's funny.
Because Rowan Atkinson was his boss, so that whole part is sort of like an over the top version of his experience working for Rowan Atkinson.
Right. Well,
You know.
and what's interesting about that to me is that the Tall Guy is the only example, because I think most people only know Rowan Atkinson, the whole Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
And Mr.
Well,
Bean
or
is-
like any of his other British comedy projects.
Okay, but I haven't really seen any of those. Was he in Faulty Towers?
He
or
was in
something?
like some. No, he's been in like American movies too. He was in.
Yeah, he was in Love Actually and everything.
Yes, but I was gonna say no. Love Actually is not American.
Okay.
Love
Right.
Actually is definitely a
You're
British
right,
movie.
you're right.
But no, I was friggin'. He played like some bumbling secret agent in a movie. Do you remember?
Yeah, vaguely. I don't think I saw the movie.
But it was based on a property like Get Smart. It wasn't Get Smart, because that was like Steve Carell or somebody.
Right.
But it was a similar kind of thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Where it was like he's a secret agent, but he's also kind of a doofus.
Right. Well, I remember thinking he was pretty.
He's like a James Bond parody.
Right. Well, didn't they do a movie with him like Mr. Bean's Holiday or
Yeah,
something?
they did.
Yeah, which
And
was
that was played in America.
Yeah, and that was actually not terrible. That was kind of amusing, as I recall.
I remember it had was it Kevin Bacon playing like some really serious director?
It might have had Kevin Bacon, but it also had the guy who plays the Green Goblin in the Spider-Man.
Oh, Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe is kind of
Yeah,
the
it
villain
wasn't
in it.
Kevin. It wasn't Kevin Bacon. It was
Okay.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, and that was funny. That was good.
Yeah. No, that is good.
But here's the thing that was interesting about the Tall Guy is that it's the only example that I had seen or have seen of Rowan Atkinson playing a villain, a bad guy, because usually he plays this kind of nice character. Like Mr. Bean is sort of this well-meaning buffoon. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just checking my microphone. Sorry,
Okay.
continue.
Anyway, Rowan Atkinson always plays this kind of well-meaning buffoon, this Mr. Bean who's kind of sweetly dumb, But in the Tall Guy, he plays a guy who's really nasty,
Yeah.
which is an interesting.
No, I know,
switchover
but
for
that's
him.
why I think it's funny that it was like based on anyone's experience having him as a boss.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's just that idea that somebody can seem like such a fun person on stage or in a movie and then be like a dick in real life.
Right.
Which is obviously it's a trope too.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of jokes about, like, because I think a lot about the stuff that like when Johnny Depp went on one of Ricky Gervais's shows after the Golden Globes.
Right.
You know, when Ricky Gervais made all those jokes, you know, at the expense of the famous people.
Yeah.
And he made a joke about The Tourist being like a shitty movie.
Right.
And then he had Johnny Depp come on his show and like pretend to be super offended by it.
Right.
And then like read a list of his own jokes that were basically just insults of Ricky Gervais.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know, basically like
short
Ricky Gervais is like a fat cunt or something. Like,
right.
That might have been on Life is Short. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that, I believe it. I do think Life is Short is the show where him and Stephen Merchant like are like pretending to have an office in a building in London,
and they're casting,
and they keep having like random famous people in their office every time Warwick Davis comes by.
Yeah.
And the joke always being that like they never really want to see or talk to Warwick Davis. He just kind of imposes himself on them.
Yeah.
But that was also where they had Liam Neeson saying he wanted to do comedy, but being like really over dramatic.
Yeah.
Which is great.
No, that was really funny.
And then the Ted movies like stole that.
Did they?
That bit. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure they did. Forgive me if I'm wrong about this. They might not have even Seth MacFarlane might not have even known about that bit.
Right.
But there's a scene in Ted where Ted is working at a grocery store and Liam Neeson comes in and like has a box of tricks and he's like, "Am I to understand? These are exclusively for children." and he's like, and Ted is like, yeah, I mean that's the commercial. It's like, you know, tricks are for kids, and it's like so if I purchase these, I won't be followed. Like, you know what I mean? But it's the same joke essentially.
Yeah, right.
It's like, look at how serious and goofy Liam Neeson is.
Yeah.
You know? Which is why, of course, he was cast in the new Naked Gun movie.
Of course.
But like, no, I love that. The Ricky Gervais bit is even better though, because I remember he says that he wants to practice comedy and they should do like an improv.
Right.
And he's like, okay, so you're coming into the doctor's office, and he's like, doctor, I've got AIDS.
Right.
I've got full blown AIDS.
Right. Yeah. No, that was very amusing.
What? How did we get on this tangent?
I don't know.
There was a reason.
Yeah. Oh, we were talking about Mr. Bean.
Oh yeah, Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Mr. Bean. Not really deadpan comedy, Mr. Bean.
No.
Much more like. But I do sort of enjoy the Bean character, just from a perspective of how hard it must have been for Rowan Atkinson to have to perform as that character for as long as he did.
Oh yeah.
To just have to be like, a pencil.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like it's very vaudevillian.
Yeah, yeah. It's well, and yeah, that's kind of it. It goes back to an earlier time. It's like a mime.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I know, and it's just, I don't know. It's not something that I would want to have to do for very long.
No.
But I appreciate where his career has brought him.
Yeah.
He was also in a bunch of like British sitcoms too.
Yeah, that's
like,
that's what I was
Blackadder?
thinking.
Was that the show?
Blackadder,
Yeah.
You're right. That's the one. I never saw that show, but I know that people like that.
Didn't he play like a priest in it or something?
I've never seen it, so I
haven't
really
seen
don't
it
know.
either.
Yeah.
There's like I only know like two British sitcoms. One is Blackadder. One is Fawlty Towers.
Yeah.
And I only know Fawlty Towers because John Cleese is in it.
Right, but again, I've never seen either of those shows.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
I have seen the Pythons though.
Yeah, I've seen Monty Python. I used to enjoy Monty Python.
I also remember that there was a Whitest Kids You Know sketch, which was a sketch show. I don't know when that sketch show existed, like when I was in middle school or something. But I remember there was a sketch where they said they were going to get John Cleese to write a sketch for the show and how excited they were.
Uh-huh.
And they're like in the middle of like a set while they're saying like, you know, we got John Cleese to write a sketch for this show. And then the sketch starts and it's like them reciting a letter from John Cleese's secretary saying he will be unable to like write a sketch for their show.
Right.
Which I thought was funny.
That is. It's a good idea.
I think about them a lot, mostly because their frontman, Trevor Moore, died
Okay, you're talking about The Whitest Kids You Know?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Monty Python.
No.
Okay.
The Whitest Kids You Know. Trevor
Okay.
Moore died. And then that other guy who was in The Whitest Kids You Know went on to direct those horror movies that have become so popular.
Really?
You know, Weapons and Longlegs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's like the most normal looking of a guy from The Whitest Kids You Know.
Okay.
Because Trevor Moore is like the lanky guy with like the shoulder length hair.
I've
And
never
then
seen the
there's-
show.
Then there's Timmy, who's like the little weird looking fat guy.
Okay.
Who always played like little kid characters and like, you know, women and stuff.
Okay.
And then there's this other guy who has kind of like a nasally voice, and then there's the most normative, attractive looking guy in the group.
Okay.
Who's the director that went on to make Weapons and Longlegs.
Okay.
He's getting his chance right now in the.
That this is his moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Honestly, though, I didn't love Weapons or Longlegs, but we don't have to get into that.
Yeah. I like the use of the George Harrison song at the beginning of Weapons.
I don't even remember.
It's a really good song.
I just remember that Weapons was essentially like a horror movie version of Hocus Pocus.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of. There were some things about it that I thought worked. That ending reminded me a little bit of the ending of a movie that I know that we both, and a book that we both like. It kind of reminded me a bit of Perfume. The end of Perfume.
Yeah. Well, just as far as like group
Group
mauling
Yeah,
goes.
exactly.
Honestly, I think Weapons did it better than the movie Perfume.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I feel like
The movie held back too much.
the
from it.
movie should have been more, because the book is very graphic about it.
Yeah, it is.
And that's sort of the purpose, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to be visceral in the same way that like the whole book is about visceral sensation.
Yeah, it should be a bit shocking.
Yeah.
And the movie was a little timid about it.
Yeah. I did like a lot of their choices in the movie, though. As we've discussed, like I like the fact that they didn't display scent visually in the movie.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that I like the actor they used for the main character. He was a good choice.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't mind Dustin Hoffman being in it either.
It was a little weird, but
it
I
was a
didn't
little
mind.
weird.
Yeah. I liked the use of what's his name, Snape.
Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, who do you get to play an old-timey, evil,
Right.
French, European, English, whatever man?
Yeah.
You know, who's the judge in Sweeney Todd? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
Alan Rickman is the evil old British man.
Yeah.
That was his role in life.
That was his niche. Yes.
And he did it beautifully.
Yeah.
And we all remember him very fondly for it.
Yep.
I'm actually very sad he's dead because
I
he was
am
a big
too.
part of my. He was a big part of my film media career upbringing.
Yeah. And he seemed like he should have had a number of more years in him.
Yeah.
Although, speaking of which, I just heard that Catherine O'Hara died. It was too bad.
I don't remember who that is.
Catherine O'Hara was she was the mother in Beetlejuice. Who sang? She was the one who started singing.
I have
Deo.
someone's face in my brain, but I don't know if it's the right person.
Yeah, well, that's who she is, but she was also in a couple of movies that I really. She was in Martin Scorsese's After Hours.
Yeah.
She was the crazy woman.
No,
that leads the mob.
So it is the. I am thinking of the right person.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I didn't know she died recently.
yeah, she just died a few days ago, which is too bad.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard about a few people dying recently, but I can't remember exactly who. I just remember there were some people who were interesting dying recently. Mm-hmm. I still haven't gotten over Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I know, that seems impossible that he could die.
That was such a horrible disaster.
Yeah.
Because it was almost like, it was as tragic as like Amy Winehouse or Kurt Cobain, but he was much older.
Uh-huh.
So it's like you don't usually see a tragic heroin death with like a
Older
middle-aged guy.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was really unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree. Was it a heroin death? I'm
I think
not
so.
sure I even knew that.
It was definitely a drug-related death.
Okay.
Um,
It's too bad. I know he had heroin problems.
Yeah.
I didn't know that killed him.
Well, I mean, what else would have?
No, I really
I
don't
mean,
know.
like maybe a random heart attack.
Yeah,
or
that's
something.
what I was thinking. Maybe
But no, I'm
something
pretty
like
sure
that.
it was a drug-related death.
Okay.
But that makes it extra sad because it's like if drugs hadn't killed him, he could have lived longer and done more work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some of his recent work was some of his best.
Yeah.
You know, some of the last work he did before he died, like The Master was a fabulous role for him.
It was a great movie, but I think he was probably very disappointed, and I don't think that movie did very well, and I think it was probably a big letdown because that was kind of his tour de force, you know.
I mean, if that's how he felt about it, that's a shame.
It is a
but
shame.
I think the Master was a triumph.
Oh, it's a great movie.
I just think maybe there's not enough people who appreciate it for what it was.
Well, that's the whole problem. I mean, I know that when we went to see it, I think we were the only people in the theater.
Yeah.
You know.
Speaking of which, like like as far as changing generations and different kinds of intelligence go, I was recently I saw a clip of something that really resonated with me as far as like how I see the world going.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy was talking about how he feels like in the future the class divide is going to be between people who have basic critical thinking skills and people who don't, or at least for a while it will be, because they're seeing a lot more, maybe because of people who were like raised by the internet, you know what I mean? Like people who grew up without a good amount of support, who maybe were put through like a bad public school system, who like basically, you know, were like iPad kids, right? There's a lot more of these people entering the workforce who just don't have basic reasoning skills as far as like, and I've talked about this with like people I've worked with in the past, like, you know, who are younger people who will do stuff like abandon a task or like do something that seemingly doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? In a job setting, you know what I mean? And apparently there's more of these kind of people coming into the workforce who are younger, who have lost that ability to critically think, and as a result are incapable of long-term really holding down any kind of job because they can't reason based in a basic way that like people who are raised in a different way can.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a divide now with people who are slightly more affluent. You know, they send their kids to like private schools or Montessori schools. They prevent their kids from using technology until they're teenagers. You know, things like that. So a lot of these kids grow up normally, or at least in a way that's more traditional to us, and they develop those critical reasoning skills that maybe some of these other kids who are in different class situations don't. And as a result, you know, but once again, this goes back to like a poverty divide too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, the kids who grow up in situations where they're iPad kids or they have to go to bad public schools, a lot of times it's because they're in families where the parents are either poor or they have to work all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like these are kids who don't have the benefit of the kind of supervision they need to like be normal children.
Right.
And he was saying that he feels like that's going to create a class divide.
Right.
Where it's like you have this percentage of society that doesn't have critical thinking skills, and this percentage of society that does,
Right.
and that will be the ruling class essentially.
Right, but of course that leads you to, here's the question that leads to is, you know, what happens to the people who are on the wrong side of that equation, you know, the people
Well, that's what he was afraid of. He was saying like he thinks it's possible those people could like end up dead or starving or something.
Right. Well, I mean, because recently there was some interview with Elon Musk, and he was saying something like, you know, if you're you know young, if you're under 30 or something like that, and you're worried about, you know, saving enough to retire, you probably shouldn't worry about it. You know, and he said that, and I was thinking, you know, there's two ways to take that.
Yeah.
One, that automation will save us all,
Yeah.
and that we'll all be provided for, and the other is that
You'll be dead.
you'll be dead.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or he could be saying like, you know, you're young enough that as long as you start to think about that stuff by the time you're 30, you'll be fine.
Right.
You know, but you're right. It does seem more of a threat than anything.
Yeah.
Wesley's, I want to say to people listening, if there are people listening, Wesley whimpers like that all the time. It's just a thing he does for attention. Like we take him outside plenty. We give him plenty of affection. He just doesn't he doesn't like the fact that we're not focused on him right now. Come here. We love you.
Yes, we love you, Wesley.
Okay.
You're being a naughty dog.
Anyway, but regardless, what I was thinking is like, okay, at least I'm on the side of that equation that benefits from critical thinking skills.
Sure.
But I was also thinking, how sad would that be if I have to, like, even if it goes, like, here's the thing. I feel like there's still potentially I still like there's still obviously potentially dangerous for anybody who's not super wealthy. But like, let's argue that it goes in that direction, and you know, it's not only the super wealthy who survive. There is some sort of like upper class of people who have critical thinking skills and some lower class of people that don't, right? And let's say I'm on the side, the good side, not the good side, but like the side that benefits from critical thinking skills.
Right.
It would still be horribly sad to watch these desperate people like suffer under the weight of like this societal disconnection.
Yeah, it would be terrible, but here's my concern. My thought is that critical thinking skills will not figure into it, because the only thing that will have critical thinking skills will be the machines, you know, and if the only things with critical thinking skills have taken all the jobs and are occupying the position of essentially being mechanical slaves for the ultra wealthy, who are kind of the new pharaohs.
Yeah.
Then there's no place for anyone else. It doesn't. Your critical thinking skills don't matter.
Of course, but we're not talking about that, Dad. I just said that. I said yes. Obviously, there's the apocalyptic scenario where only the super wealthy survive.
Right.
But I'm saying if that is not the end result.
But I think what you're suggesting is very unlikely, because we already know that technology will be replacing all such critical thinking.
But we don't know that, Dad.
It seems
we
pretty
don't
obvious.
know that. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The situation we find ourselves in is unprecedented. This has never happened in society before.
No,
we don't
it
know what
hasn't.
the outcome is.
No, but I think that we can surmise just based on what we already see.
Is he covering your microphone?
Maybe. Can you hear me? I don't know.
I don't want you to be muffled later.
Yeah. I'm trying to uncover my mic. Wesley, don't eat my microphone.
Anyway, look, regardless, I'm just thinking of other alternative outcomes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
and in the short term, you could have a class divide between people who are capable of being functional in the old world society and people who are not capable of it.
Sure, but I think we're in that situation right now. You know, I just think that this situation is a temporary one, you know.
Anyway.
Now, what we really want is to move to the Star Trek, you know, world where...
Yes, well, we've talked
essentially-
about that hundreds of times.
Yes, so we don't have to go into that again.
Why are you whining?
I don't know.
We're
He's
petting
being
you.
crazy.
Like, he's been so needy lately, and I'm very I think the main reason is that he really likes to be outside in the snow and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think so he's been much more needy about like wanting to go out in the snow.
Yeah.
But he's been like especially like acting like like he's alone all the time recently.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, and he's not. You know what I mean? Like he's been acting like we give him no attention, and all we do is give him attention. And because of that, Gwen and I have been a little worried that maybe like something is going on with him medically or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to know.
Yeah, well, we will probably take him to the vet to get him looked at just in case, but he's definitely been acting much more puppyish lately and pushy.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely seizing the moment here. Wesley, you're a very cute dog.
He's licking my ear.
Yeah.
All right, buddy, come on. Ow. You want to go outside? You want to go outside?
He's like, yeah.
You want to go outside? Let's go outside. Your mic.
He knocked it
doing?
down.
I'm going to go put him outside.
All right.
Talk to the people for a second.
Yes. So Max is putting the dog out. This is some crazy nonsense. So since it's just you and I and my wife who's sitting across from me over there. Hello, dear. How are you doing?
Good.
You doing good?
He's such a psycho, that dog.
He's a crazy dog.
So what were we talking about? Society falling apart?
Yes, we probably shouldn't carry this too much further. It's too depressing.
Whatever. Anyway, I recently rewatched Bronson too with Gwen, which is a biopic. It's not a documentary. It's like it's a biopic.
Yeah.
So it's fictional. It has Tom Hardy playing
Charles Bronson.
Yes, kind of.
No, he doesn't.
But Tom Hardy plays this guy who was like classified as England's most violent prisoner. Mm-hmm. Who he had a nickname, which was Charles Bronson. It was his fighting name in bare knuckle boxing.
And he's named after the actor Charles Bronson, who played a tough guy in a lot of movies.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was his fighting name.
Yeah, I'm just saying the viewers might not know who Charles Bronson is.
Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see you're explaining her. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, regardless, it's like, you know how wrestlers have a wrestling name. This was his boxing name.
Yeah.
His fighting name. But anyway, he was just this crazy guy who was prone to like fits of violence, and who liked to like fight everybody all the time, and has been in prison for his entire life essentially.
Yeah.
He still hasn't been released. He was up for parole apparently recently, but they felt like his violent tendencies still were too
pronounced.
Apparent. Yeah.
Okay.
But he also does art. He was introduced to art, and in 1999, I think, in the 90s, he took a prison teacher, an art teacher, hostage, and because that's how the movie ends.
Okay, right.
Remember, he has an art teacher who's kind of like a nice guy who like is on his side, and then he takes him hostage and paints himself. He like covers his body in like black paint, and like. Fucking then fights all the prison guards again. Okay. Anyway, regardless, my point is that guy introduced him to art, and as a result, Charles Bronson also has this side of himself where he now is into art.
You know what's funny about this is that it sounds very similar to another case, an American case about this this guy named Jack Henry Abbott, who was in jail for murder, I think, and he began to write. About his life, and apparently his writing was very good. In fact, I think I read some of the stuff that he wrote, and he was a good writer. But because he was a good writer, a bunch of writers, such as what's his name, Norman Mailer, began to champion this guy's case and suggest that he should be released because now he could go out into the world and write. You know, he's not going to be a thug anymore, right? Yeah. So they did this. They all basically petitioned the court, and this group of writers. And so as a result of their petitioning, this Jack Henry Abbott guy was released from prison, and not that long after he was released, he murdered somebody else in front of being put back in prison. So this turned out to be kind of a terrible debacle, but it kind of shows that some people are not really fit for...
I think it's funny, though, because people do tend to gravitate around people they think are, like, I don't know, interesting or, like, aggressive. Like, I feel like there's a lot of obsession, there's a lot of, I guess, star fuckery. Like, we would talk about, like, there's people that are obsessed with celebrities, but there's also people who are obsessed with, like, famous prisoners and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And
Sinatra used to hang out with mobsters.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But I'm just saying, like, I mean, this Bronson guy, we looked online, he's been married like 3 or 4 times. And it's like, who's going to marry Britain's most violent prisoner?
Right.
Like, there's women out there probably who are like, oh, I think he's just misunderstood.
Oh, sure.
I think he seems like a very interesting bloke.
Yeah.
Or maybe women, maybe it's also a sexual thing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there are some women, obviously, who, get very attracted to, for instance, what's the name of that serial killer?
Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy. Yeah. He had a bunch of groupies that were
But he was pretty. Bronson's not particularly pretty. He's just kind of rugged looking.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
I get what you're saying, though. Yeah. Like people are drawn. Some people are drawn to the wrong things.
Yeah.
And it's not just women. I mean, it's like I think a lot of the cases of famous crazy men who have women drawn to them get recorded, but there's also cases of like men being drawn to crazy women.
Well, and men being drawn to crazy men. I mean, all you have to do is look at the cult of personality of the current commander-in-chief.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ridiculous men who have a weird obsession with this guy and love him.
I know.
It doesn't make any sense.
I wonder if anyone has ever wanted Donald Trump to like have sex with their wife.
Well, absolutely. You know what I mean? I have no doubt.
I feel like that's a thing that's a constant joke in like Hollywood culture, because I've seen movies and TV shows where there's like a famous guy and then like some guy will come up and be like, "Would you have sex with my wife? We're in this hotel room." Like, I feel like I see that a lot as a reference.
Yeah, I'm
so
sure.
that must happen all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure that Mar-a-Lago was some kind of epicenter for horrific things like that.
For bizarre cuckery.
If not Epstein Island. I mean, it's disgusting.
Well, yeah, we know that the whole Epstein thing was insane.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that this is the kind of person that no sane person would be drawn to.
Speaking of which, online, I saw... by the way, we're getting back into politics.
Yeah, I know.
just
We
want to say
should
that.
go down
But second
this
of all,
road.
if you want to get back into politics, I saw that a couple days ago, there was a protest outside of what looked like the Mormon church in Utah, like the big one.
Yeah.
Of people screaming about did unregistered immigrants, lay you off from your job? Did unregistered immigrants, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff. And I was like that's weird. I'm surprised that people in people in Utah got the memo.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
What I'm saying is it was an anti-Trump protest.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Well, I think most of the country is going in that direction. Thank goodness.
It was
but
an
why,
anti-ICE protest.
Yeah, exactly. And I think most people have at least the sense to see that there's something terrifying.
I just thought it was weird that it was in Utah in front of the Mormon church.
It is weird, but obviously the Mormons have. If anybody should know what it means to be,
I don't think it was Mormons.
You think it was just people who were there?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure what the Mormon congregation looks like right now, but it certainly wasn't a bunch of white Mormon families.
Okay. Well, I really don't know. I mean, obviously, I didn't see it, so I don't know.
So maybe they were just using it as like a congregational place,
background or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because people recognize it.
Yeah.
But that begs more questions. Is are the Mormons part of this? Do they sponsor this? You know what I mean?
What difference would it make?
Well, because Mormons, and the Mormon Church, especially in Utah, is historically been very wealth-focused conservative endeavor. So if we have more and more of these historically, conservative groups joining the cause, that's a good thing.
I guess. I mean, here's the thing about the Mormons.
It's like hearing the NRA is against ICE. It's like,
But
I wouldn't have imagined the NRA would be on board.
But see, I don't think that's quite true. I mean, I think that the Mormons, I mean, look what they do. They send, missionaries to every country in the world. You know what I mean? They're interested in, they want to have African Mormons. They want to have
They're
Hispanic
interested in missionaries.
Yes, that's right.
Sorry, but continue.
No, I'm just saying they want converts to Mormonism of all races.
Do they?
Of course, they have missionaries in every country on earth. They send missionaries to Africa,
I
to
still think
South
I
America.
still feel like that's more of a modern thing, because in if you want to look back at super traditional Mormonism, it was historically racist.
Well, I think
original Mormonism used to believe that people who were indifferent to the fight between good and evil turned black, essentially.
Well,
there was a lot of weird historical racism in Mormonism.
I think most of the American church movements,
have historical racism.
Have racism kind of baked in, unless you're talking about something like the Black Church or something like that. But I'm just saying, I know that Mormonism, one of the things is that it's true of Catholicism as well.
So I guess what you're saying is that Mormonism is supportive of illegal aliens or something, or
I don't know about that.
Or anti-ICE.
I mean, I would not say that I know for sure, because this is a very recent issue.
Yeah.
This whole ICE thing, and I don't really know.
That's mostly what's causing the protests now, though.
Yeah, but I don't think that most Mormons, were raised thinking that there's a problem with immigration, because they can proselytize
but what
to
about
immigrants.
illegal immigration? Because that's the argument of the conservative side right now, and by the conservative side I mean everyone who's crazy right now.
Yeah,
is the argument is that this is some kind of immigration issue, despite the fact that ICE has publicly gunned down white people recently.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm just suggesting that I'm not going to try to read the minds of Mormons in the the Mormon church.
No, I agree. I'm not. This is no judgment on Mormons. I just think the whole thing is a bit bizarre. That's all.
It is bizarre.
Like you know what I mean? Because like I'm just saying there are groups involved in this whole thing that I wouldn't have expected to be involved in this whole thing, and as a result, it's in some ways it seems kind of positive.
Well, I think that maybe there's a positive thing in the sense that almost anybody who has any sort of, reason is objecting to some of the stuff that's going on, in the country. Obviously the militarization of the police and everything like that. It's a problem. But
honestly, everything I get information so piecemeal at this point. It's like I don't even 100% know what's going on all the time.
Well, I mean, we could go into it. I don't really think we should discuss this at great length just because, I mean, we could have our podcast be about this, and I have a lot of strong opinions about it, and I don't necessarily want to go in that direction.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Especially because you get so intense when you're discussing things that are frustrating to you.
Well, it's not just that I get intense, but I don't necessarily want, I don't know, I don't want to cause any issues that are going to cause you to have the podcast shut down or anything like that.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Anyway, whatever happens.
I don't think enough people listen to this podcast for it to get shut down.
They don't. But
like I look, I know what you're saying. I'm just saying either way, we're not really discussing our opinions on anything. We're just discussing environmental factors.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is that the world.
What you're saying is you're terrified of the Mormon Church. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. No. The world at this moment, what's happening in America is very depressing. And I've spent my entire life being depressed.
You don't want to depress people.
No, it's not about that. Maybe, but it's more
you don't want to be depressed.
Yeah, I don't want to be depressed. Like, this podcast is a time for me that we can enjoy a conversation that's not about that stuff. At least.
And yet we keep breaking into it.
We do, because it's hard to avoid it. But let's not...
Because the world is so politically motivated.
Yeah, but I would rather not have that be the focus of this for any long length of time.
You're right. We should talk about uncured hot dogs.
Well, I think we've gone a little too far in that direction as well.
Don't you understand, Ed? They're like regular hot dogs, but they're not cured.
That's true.
They're uncured.
That means they're sick. They're still sick.
They're sin. They're filled with
cured.
sin.
That's right.
They're the dirtiest hot dogs. We've actually run out of time.
Have we?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're over time.
Wow.
We're well over time.
Well, that's cool.
So we should shut up now. But to not end on a depressing note, to end on a more uplifting note, let me sing the song of my people.
Go for it. Yay. All right.
Actually, that sounds like the intro to one of the Hamilton songs.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody.
Fare thee well.